Hello, everybody. This is Coco. She's our special guest for however long she decides to be here. She's about to eat her lunch, and I'm about to eat my lunch. Welcome to day 760 of eating a sheet of paper a day. And, give your thoughts on Mesa College, because people can watch this and see this as a representation of a campus they might want to go to later on in life.
I encourage everyone to come join Mesa College. It's a great place to be. You'll meet lots of nice people, get a good education. Oop, frame. You'll meet fun kids like this guy. Talented, funny, productive.
Exactly.
You too can be that guy.
Caden, he heard your sales pitch. So you're not pitching to nobody. I know it says 0 over there, or not anymore. But you see,
Oh, you're live. Okay.
exactly one person heard that, and people play this stuff back. You'd be surprised. So
Thank you, Elder.
an impression of Mesa College is that it's a leftovers bin, but not at all. As a matter of fact,
it's thriving. The campus has been built up. It's beautiful.
There's stained glass on a building across campus. It's a little dirty, but it's stained glass. So But I'm pretty proud of this campus, for one, because it's a place that seems like no one's going to listen, but people are listening, and that leads to an illusion. People are listening, and there's less traffic to get your voice out specifically here. And as a result of that, you can be heard because there's not an oversaturation of voices. Coco's voice has been heard across all 5 neighborhoods. All right. Good luck. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, no, I am. I'm still doing all that stuff. I don't know why I'm still doing that. I don't know why I'm still here. But yeah, still at Mesa. Yeah, on a similar subject, yes, I still am here. Caden, are you still in the general area? Southern California, am I right? Also, at a certain point, because of temperature adjustments due to not global warming, but I'm going to call it climate change, we're soon going to have a particular scenario where Russia will become inhabitable. There are lots of parts of Russia, pockets of it, that are so inhabitably cold, and parts here that are warm are going to be very warm soon. So prepare shortly to watch people relocate. And what I say is, make very careful choices of who to relocate with, because people are moving houses way more than they were before. In the 1960s, about 75% of households would spend their entire lives, the children and the adults, living within the same neighborhood. So you'd have people, gossip would spread around quick because your father knew your grandfather, and he knew your uncle, and your uncle knew the other uncle who, did stuff, and the criminals knew the cops, and the criminals were brothers with the cops. That doesn't happen anymore. Everybody moves around now. So people are putting themselves in danger by not properly thinking out where they want to go and who specifically to go with, because even your best friends, they're apathetic. They'll just pack up and leave. So choose wisely and skedaddle with them. In the 60s, they said it was going to be a global cooling. Well, I mean, it globally fluctuates. Fluctuates? Fluctuates. Is that the right word? How am I so puzzled about this? It's fluctuating. Yeah, I think that's the right word. Yeah, it's fluctuating all the time. But this is a particular fluctuation that's lasting for a long time and is significant because our ecosystem is not going to recover. Oh my God, Brian, you're swinging to the left, but no, this is not even a bipartisan thing. It's just a simple acknowledgement. It's also, there's going to be stuff like snowstorms. There was a hailstorm here about a year ago, and I have no idea why that happened. And a lot of that is because of the same effects that people call, oh my God, it's never going to snow again. I remember Obama said, I want for my granddaughters to experience snow. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Of course they're going to experience snow. It's just that they're going to experience a lot of it, too much, all at once, and not in alignment with the seasons. And they'll probably never be able to witness a full coral reef, living in abundance with itself. So what do I think happened, or what do I think will happen to the planet? I think the sun will expand and devour it, but before then, it's impossible, but in my best prediction, I'm going with 65% likelihood. I think that we are going to quell the nastiest effects of our toxicity upon Earth. We already are doing that. despite how pessimistic people want to be, because I think a mindset people have is they want for the bare, what is it? They think of extraordinary progress in a certain distance in a positive direction as the bare minimum, but that same distance in a negative direction is considered a calamity. Like, especially if it's on a global scale. People find it really scary that a scientific effect that is so widespread and so supposedly unavoidable directly, like no one person can stop it, and you only have control over yourself. So if an individual person hears about how the earth is warming up and no one person can stop it, and it's because all your ancestors fucked up and all the things that you really enjoy are what's at fault here, that's real pessimistic mindset. And I think that's not exactly an accurate way to portray the situation, because as long as we individually obviously eat what we got to eat, consume what we got to consume, and pay for what we got to pay for in order to take our vehicle from place to place, we will still experience a situation where if we just make gradual progress, individuals working together and doing about 1% of their part each will amount in large groups to a 1000% efficiency. And that's already being shown here. I mean, not to be overly progressive, but electric vehicle rates are rising. And I know that people are talking about Tesla stocks, but there's many more electric vehicles aside from friggin' Tesla. And people, we're outside. Oh, I'm outside 5 out of the 7 days of the week for this now. Expect that. My router can't be trusted. I'm in school full time now. And I think the reason I have this portable setup, which I'm going to school, by the way, with a rolling chair on top of this stool here. And people say I look like I was a homeless guy who wandered in, so I make sure to dress extra formal just to make sure people aren't disillusioned. EVs do not save the environment, though. So unless they're produced, so people talk about the production. I actually respectfully disagree. I've seen certain studies. Now, if you have a link to send me that tells me otherwise. Short term, yes, the production of the lithium batteries, yeah. It's really interesting on how the negative effects from the production is around proportional to the current rates of reduced emission. And obviously, lithium batteries got to be replaced. And on top of that, if we're going to gloss over your main point here, they will and they are finding more efficient ways of powering these vehicles that are more ethically produced. But I respectfully disagree, because from what I'm seeing, the rates at which a battery can be replaced or more will be produced, it's unfortunate, but in due time, we're going to notice that huge rise. It's not going to really be going up linearly. And I'm not talking about new models being produced. I'm talking about these current models and the fact that you're not replacing your battery with another battery every single time you run out of charge. You just charge it up again. So the main point I'm hearing about these batteries, to me, it's just silly, because people know long term that matters a lot less than, say, refilling your tank with more and more oil and more gas every single time that you happen to take a round trip to Ralph's and back. So I personally don't see it. I think that there is nothing wrong with, I mean, I understand that there are people who are advocating for electronic vehicles when they don't understand how they really work. And they're just saying, well, it's just objectively better, end of story. Okay, sure. But they are certainly not worse than what cars have been. And I'm not against getting a giant Tonka truck and, popping a cold one with your boys and driving your truck off-roading in the middle of a forest or something like that. I'm cool with that. Again, I'm saying as individuals, people are confusing societal responsibility with individual responsibility. They're still powered by a fossil fuel. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. But the rates at which the emissions affect the atmosphere and the ozone layer, from what I've seen, it's not proportional at all. We're not seeing anything worse or even on par with other vehicles. That's just what I've seen. Call me brainwashed. But if we're saying where does the electricity come from, yeah, I understand. But if we're talking about production of electricity, I mean, I thought you were talking about the lithium batteries. We could talk about that. That is a very fair point. But yeah, I think taking electricity that comes from a fossil fuel, to me, not all fossil fuel consumption is created equal, Mesethula. I believe that if you're also looking at a scenario where you're literally pumping gasoline into your car, I'm totally cool with that. I don't mind that on an individual level. But I still think that that's not the same thing. That's varying magnitudes of problematic. So you could say it's all a problem. Everything in the world gives you cancer, but I care about how much cancer I'm giving myself. So, and that's not even talking about the fact that they're still finding better and better ways to produce power for these vehicles. I mean, the fact that we've made a switch from one form of power to another completely different form of power is very impressive to me. So, I think we're going to be okay. All of this to say, even if you could say we're arguably releasing the same amount into the air as we are, which we're not. But the narrative that the people on the left are saying is that the people who are corrupt and are in power will inevitably steer us in the wrong direction, and it's just going to get worse and worse. And I'm saying we've already made significant switches in directions that many 10 years ago never predicted we would. I remember like 10 or 15 years ago hearing someone say, if we even are able to make a switch to any alternate source of power, that'll be beyond my wildest expectations. Well, guess what? Here we are. And I mean, from what people were saying 15 years ago, I don't have vivid memories, but I do know that people were projecting in the ballpark of like 50 to 100 years from now, because they were talking about, oh, there's going to be flying cars in the year 2005, and there weren't any flying cars. But now we don't have flying cars because we don't really need them as much as we need other things. And the things we need, it seems like if we put our minds to it, and if there's enough emphasized importance, even if some of it's in the wrong direction, and even if some of the information on global warming is very misleading and manipulative and just tries to tug at your heartstrings so that you can fund their environmentalist projects and give them more money so they can funnel 2% of their profits into let's just funnel it into water energy or something. Let's build like exactly one windmill, and the rest of it just goes to build my mansion. They do that, so and you're saying troubling the power grid in locales. And on top of that, I have also read too, we both read, we're twinsies. And what I've read says that people are responding to this as humans do. Whenever you encounter a problem, you find a new way to do it. And of course, there will be problems down the road, but you find new ways. When it comes to the power grid, they're finding new ways to rewire or optimize efficiency with technology used to power these aforementioned power grids. I'm saying just because you encounter a problem, that doesn't mean that the plan's dead. Every development of something, especially alternative energy, yeah, of course you're going to encounter obstacles. It's complicated. There's a lot of factors to it. I hate this mentality whenever people are like, yeah, but when you switch to electricity and you switch to electric cars, there's a problem because sometimes there's a power grid problem and there's lithium batteries and they produce emissions. I'm like, okay, sure, that's a problem. Let's fix it. Why give up on the prospect of progress just because we encounter one problem that can be fixed with the power of human ingenuity? We've come this far. I hate this fucking narrative that people are like, yeah, no, just give up on the whole fucking thing. The whole thing's a ruse. The whole thing's a capitalist farce because we encountered a couple problems, maybe a dozen, but we're solving them. We are capable of doing it. We're capable of integrating the technology into our streets, which we have. So if we can do that, fuck yeah, we can rewire power grids. We can make the technology capable of providing us the power more complex. So anyways, yeah, I mean, then there's people who are the really unproductive leftists who are like, no, there's no problem. No, you're just reading too much Breitbart. Sure. Yeah, they're also the problem because they're not, you're going to say, hey, listen, every opposing viewpoint, it's a bad representation for environmentalism. So, hello there from Athens, Greece. You just got recommended right now, and you remind me of another guy that's doing the same content but with water. I've seen that guy. He has a very lovely goatee. And I'd like to say this. I drink water in order to down my paper. So I'll say this. I'm doing what that guy's doing and more. So I message that guy and tell him that, he best step up his act. Quit yapping, eat more paper, Brian. Hey, quit yapping, bathtub X toaster, and just watch me eat paper, man. Ever heard of just, not heckling? Don't heckle the theater. I don't think there should be mandates. No, I don't think so either. I'm glad we see eye to eye on that. Also, I just finished. There's some excess paper I could use. this little ball right here. And because I did a pre-recorded when I shouldn't have done it yesterday, to compensate for the pre-recorded, I will eat an extra little piece right now. I just don't see the viability of electric cars in the future. Well, okay. I think if you're going to give a thesis like that, you need to back a thesis up with points, and that's coupled along with there shouldn't be mandates. Therefore, it seems like there's a therefore. I don't think there should be. I don't think there is. But when you say I don't see the viability, it's like, okay, I'm not really seeing any points to back that up because I see the viability in it. I mean, there's viability already being put to use right now. And you could say it's trendy. You could say it's like Lululemon leggings, but I don't see it like that. I see there's a practical use for it. It's not a thing for style. There is a practicality to these cars. I drove a real shitbox Honda Accord that was like 30 years old, and it broke down because like it fell apart and someone stole the converter off it. And I've driven electric vehicles. I've driven both, and I can say one is legit more practical than the other. Again, I am not a big fan of the iPad. I'm not a big fan of like how all these Teslas, they seem to have this like gigantic oversized iPad, which you're like required to text while drive in order to adjust your like AC settings. Like if I just want to skip a song, I need to open up a menu and skip a bunch of bullshit. Like that's impractical, but there are electric cars, excuse my burp, coming out right now, excuse my esophagus. Oh my God, that was a really loud one, that are already countering that. Like they're creating viability where people assumed there was none. So I still am not convinced. You don't see the viability? Well, I don't see your point. Oh, no. Job, I hope that's not true. Oh, fuck. Anyone who's investing money in Tesla right now, they're in for some bad news, because once they put ads on their fucking iPad that's integrated into their car, oh yeah, everyone's going to be losing money. So I feel really bad. They better not try and do that. Elon's off the rails. I appreciate him. I really do. I really appreciate the sentiment of what he did with Twitter. I just don't think that one man's vision was supposed to manage social media. And I liked it more when there was more of a hands-off thing. Like when you just let the people do their thing. That was what was called the golden age of the internet. Like the corporations are wondering, okay, what's better if we engage this way or engage that way? And I'm saying if you try to engage, that results in parameters and guidelines, and that's what fucks over social media companies. I've never seen a social media company that has put additional guidelines past the base level of like, okay, as long as it's not like maybe not a terrorism video, that's for LiveLeak, but LiveLeak's taken down now because people are filing lawsuits, but in general, the less parameters beyond the surface level you put on your streaming service or on your social media platform, the better. Yeah, currently right now where electric vehicles are at, you can't reliably drive them off-road. Like Tesla's whole road detection thing, like if you see a small pebble in the middle of a road or like a grasshopper lands in front of the car camera, it'll flip out. And sometimes if you're on auto drive, yeah, it'll catch on fire, explode, or speed up to 200 miles an hour and careen off a cliff. Like that certainly does happen. And in the worst scenarios where that's happened, there was a whole situation, I believe, I don't remember where this was, like in Idaho or something, where some crazy son of a bitch crashed their car because it seemed like auto drive was on, but lawsuits and the court hearing actually confirmed that this person's foot was stuck underneath the gas pedal, or on top of the gas pedal. Like they just weren't really paying attention to where their foot was, and I believe that they were partially inebriated, if I remember the transcript from the corporate hearing properly. So, they have more stress on the suspension parts and drivetrains that doesn't occur in normal cars, causing for maintenance more than a normally maintained car. All right, I appreciate the completion of the sentence. You really want to finish what you started. And I'll say this, and also we progress in general. There's that are very few. I hope that we become better here and worldwide. Yeah, and I think that people, no matter where you are on the spectrum here, the political spectrum, you'll find people who are completionists, and then you'll find most people who are not completionists and find the whole thing to be so complicated, partially how political situations are portrayed in the media, and they will present an issue as the end all be all. Well, I guess it's over. And it's like, No good solution comes without problems, and not a problem that initiates a solution being created, but a problem that results from a solution. Every good solution, especially to a complicated worldwide issue like this, will create more problems, and those problems will become smaller than the solution. Big solutions create small problems. Small problems require those small solutions, and maybe those small solutions will, procure even smaller problems. But that's a part of the process. So I'm saying, yeah, if the weight distribution's off because maybe the build is different, or maybe the fact that it requires electricity, maybe it's not powerful enough, or the weight distribution of how the battery is aligned inside the engine of an electric car is off. Okay, is that unsolvable? That's my question to you. Riddle me this, Mesathula. I guarantee you probably live in a country without any cars. You look like you guys just roll rocks down hills, Mesathula, wherever you are. So all I'm saying is that I don't buy it. I agree that that's a real issue. I don't agree that that is the reason why there's no viability in electric cars. That's quite a logical jump to make. So that's gobbledygook. Gobbledygook alert. Not enough people are informed enough. I don't think we can until the public better understands. Exactly. And the fact that these companies think that it's a good idea to put ads on the screen on the stupid integrated iPad inside a Tesla, it shows that they're picking up what the public's putting down. And the public is putting down the fact, and they're laying out the fact that they don't know enough. They're just driving these things and not understanding how they work, and not understanding the effects of how it works, and not understanding that these little decisions and their small, seemingly innocuous action of glossing over important details in an extremely important environmental issue like this, it's going to have disastrous effects. So I believe in the viability of electric cars. It's just certainly very imperfect, and it needs a hell of a lot of work. Get rid of the fucking iPad, honestly, at this point. Fuck the iPad out of here. If you're going to have something, make it like an iPhone or maybe an iPod Nano. Make it a small screen so it's not this gigantic distraction begging to be looked at while driving down a freeway. And then bring normal controls back. Now, this is the portion of this issue where I'm a bit of a traditionalist. Bring back the stick, bring back the buttons. That's fine. Since when did buttons go out of style? Maybe we can, again, I think the pendulum swings, so maybe we'll find a nice middle ground and we can bring the buttons and the stick back. But the idea of a vehicle being powered by electricity and having certain features, and maybe a small iPhone where you can choose what to do, or maybe you can even have, in old minivans, they used to have the little TV screen that come down from the ceiling. You could maybe do that only when parked or something, so you aren't, or maybe you could just have a Tesla or something like that has a screen in the back. I don't know. I'm saying that if little old me can come up with just the baseline ideas and can intuit that there are solutions that could be envisioned by the brilliant scientists who do shit in this world, then I think it can be done, because I am not scientifically minded at all. I'm an idiot, and I can still imagine a very feasible solution to these relatively small problems. Like, not to invalidate the paragraphs upon paragraphs that you're typing here, Mesathula, but I acknowledge that those are real problems. But I mean, if anything, it encourages me, if I were a scientist, to work on them more and to be like, well, how about that? Well, at least it works to the degree that people are trying it enough in finding out these things. So, I am proud of the functionality that these vehicles provide so far, and I am excited for the functionality that we will continue to give to these cars as we upgrade them. In many ways, yes, we are on a downward spiral. It's a lot of things involving politics. Kamala's probably going to be in office. Let's be honest. Trump fucked up his campaign good, and now Kamala's going to be president. It's going to be a disaster. But in many ways, even though we're going downhill, I believe that when it comes to ingenuity and people brainstorming, if it's not politicized, yes, we can only go up. I think they are okay cars, but gas-powered cars are going to be around for a long time. Sure. You know what else is going to be around for a long time? Electric cars. I think that all types of cars are going to be around for a long time, and I think the two are going to coexist. It'll be like Homo habilis and Homo erectus, those other Neanderthals, those guys, and us. And at some point along the way, the coexisting stopped because there was a big movement, and people, you know, I mean, they said that we aggressively crossbred, and then we took over. Maybe we could crossbreed with the gas-powered cars and bring the sticks back and bring the buttons back, so it's not a gigantic iPad. And then we can have one type of car, a better type of car, with the the horsepower and the functionality and the fuel of an electric car, but with the kind of more how am I going to say this? The more intelligent design, interior design, when it comes to controls of a gas-powered car. That's my idea. I second bringing back CD players and car. Dude, there's so many CDs and we can't play them anymore because all the cars that had CDs broke down and they lost their mileage. Like, what the hell, man? Also, the sun's moving around, and I will say, this camera is good enough to the point where you can actually. I don't look that bad today, actually. I'm fine. Also, something irrelevant and being curious about. Am I in school, university, or something? Because it's daylight over there, and it's 23:13. I'm gonna guess that means 11:13 at night. Yeah, no, I'm in Southern California, in San Diego, which is why we're talking about cars that prevent the Earth from getting hotter, which is an extreme oversimplification of it. But yeah, he's just conversing, not actively trying to solve the problem. Calm down, guys. You guys, I mean, I know you guys came to watch me eat paper, but by the way, I'm talking about politics now. This is past the part where I eat paper. Scroll back. Go play the whole video back if you want to see me eating paper. Blink and you'll miss it because I've gotten so good. I just do it very quickly and efficiently at this point. You have no solutions to the issue, but believe. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, listen. Who provides the solutions? Like, listen, are you providing any solutions other than revert back to what it was before? That's not a solution. If anything, I believe that the liberals in America are the ones who want to revert back, and not in the ways that we're talking about right now, but when it comes to their general attitudes of, okay, come on, man, come on. We can't possibly find a better solution than just a bipartisan this or that, you're with us or against us. It's interesting. It's the switch that's been made. George W. Bush was, he was really heading the with us or against us attitude. And it seems like the liberals learn a thing or two from him because now they are shoving that idea in our face. And I'm noticing that and I abhor it. So let's see if they, oh my God, you guys are giving me a lot here. Hold on, let me, blah, 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 bring back CD players. Thank you. Agree. Your argument is just trust the scientists. No, whatever the scientists put out, let's be skeptical. Sorry, I skipped over that. I know I'm like reading ahead. No, I'm totally for being skeptical of what the scientists put out. But I mean, if you're gonna present points to, why not acknowledge the fact that there has been progress that has been made, and there's a lot of things that these guys are doing that are fucked up. I mean, this is a little different than, a couple choice YouTubers when mask mandates were causing a real ruckus, especially after the studies had been published that showed that masks truly did not work and that you had to quarantine instead. And people are like, but Fauci said you should wear it, therefore you should do it. This is a little different. There are no mandates for electric cars, even though some companies are trying it. And I heavily advise that people don't try that because that's going to lead to nothing but problems. But I'm very skeptical of the scientists, but I believe that scientists have equal proclivity to successes and failures. And I do believe that there are some sects of science that can be paid off or have some politician whisper behind their ear. I totally understand there can be corroboration. And if I smell a whiff of it, as the public will too, then we'll totally look into the claims and check the validity and then call it out. But so far from the research I've done, and yes, I have done proper research, I believe that a lot of these mistakes are exactly what they are. They're mistakes. I don't believe it's the companies, abusing trust and the scientists abusing the public's trust. So if you're saying just trust the scientists, I want to give the scientists the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to trust the scientists to never make mistakes. That's why when all you're bringing up here, like the worst of the claims that you're bringing up here are boneheaded mistakes that people integrated into the cars that will get phased out in about 5 years. Like, if that's the worst you're bringing up, dude, that inspires me to have more trust in the scientists. But again, I don't have entire complete trust on the scientists. That's not a proper representation of my perspective. All I want to give the scientists are the benefit of the doubt, for one, because I'm not going to stage a science revolution, and two, I don't think we need to, because I think that given the extremely difficult and ambitious tasks they are presented with, they've done a fair job, Yeah, it's not perfect, but they've done a pretty fucking good job. All right, moving on. Thanks for responding to me. Not a total solution. Way to mitigate the effects. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not just cars. There's more stuff. I can name at least 10 things off the top of my head that would be beneficial to remove. Also, the sun's quite literally in my eyes. That's a little better. Also, I'm out of the way of any old man in a wheelchair who decides to go down the ramp near the music building. It's not that big of an issue. I don't know what it is referring to. Like, what's not that big of an issue? Environmentalism? Let's see. If car designers invest more time into electric cars, then surely they can change them to be more efficient and reduce their disadvantages. It's what I said about abortion. It's like criminalize abortion and then get more availability for sexual education and contraception and foster care facilities. Obviously, the act of giving childbirth can be seen as oppression in of itself, and I see that that's just got a pill. That's a pill you got to swallow. And another pill that you should swallow is birth control because that's a whole separate issue. But it's like if we put more money, like we have so much money that the government funnels into stuff that we do not need. If we funneled a portion of that into just a little bit, maybe 20,000 per state into foster care facilities, oh, we would be so golden. But they're not going to do that. But I will still not stop advocating for something less than what we can get. Never settle for less. I am pro-life, but with extra steps. But I digress. I'm saying, oh, you're saying carbon emissions? You're saying carbon emissions are not that big of an issue. From vehicles. I got no real opinion on that. I think that that's just one issue, and it's an issue that people are making a big stink about. And I believe that the real question here, and I mean, you could say it's regardless of whether or not it's a small percentage or a larger percentage of the issue as a whole here. What I'm saying is that people have doubt that the human race is capable of the ingenuity possible to make a switch to alternative energy. And it's not just alternative energy. Any switch or action widespread within America or possibly the human race. And look at what's happened. Look at, like, I don't know what all of this electric vehicle stuff can indicate, but our capability and our ingenuity. Even if you think it's in the wrong direction or it's misguided or it's for the wrong cause, I'll respectfully disagree with you. But I still will say, even if you think that we're aiming it in the wrong direction, we still have the power. And I don't think that the final say is in the hands of the evil corporations. I think that a lot of these decisions that are being made are against the will of many of the corporations. And I'm not going to say whether or not that's a good thing or bad thing because it depends on a case-by-case basis. But I'm proud of us because it seems like even if we aren't entirely sure of what to do or if what we're doing is the right decision, it's really, really cool that we are capable of steering ourselves in a direction, of making any decision at all. Coal runs the world. That's what they said about King George III. We can always usurp the throne. It's all good. I agree. Nuclear energy should be the future. No, nuclear energy is fun. Every single time I think about nuclear energy, I think of Homer handling that uranium rod. And I also think that nuclear energy, like there's not an excess. Like you don't need an excess of it. One uranium rod could power my lamp for like probably the next 20,000 years. They come from power stations. It's kind of yeah, I agree. No, I totally agree with that. I just think that they're already working on ways to rewire and repurpose it. I just hope that they follow through because again, one issue with the scientists is I don't think that they will find an incentive to really put the effort into finding new solutions to problems if the American public doesn't raise hell about it. And again, that's why it's so dependent on us, the commoners, the nobodies, actually trying to be cognizant and aware of what is an issue and what isn't, which is why we should stop inflating the importance and how dire a non-issue is. Stop inflating the importance of an issue, which is why I don't like people misrepresenting the conflict because then it delegitimizes and invalidates the whole thing. It's like Obama going, I want for my grandkids to experience snow. And I'm like, that's not what it's about. Y'all are going to experience snow for a long time. It's not about that. It's about ecosystems. It's about the very delicate temperature balance on Earth. It can be thrown off very easily. So, anyways, 34 minutes. We are about to wrap it up. I got to practice some stuff. that's somewhat comforting. I hope that that was in response to like the positive thing that I was saying, and not some like random thing. If I scroll up, it's like 20 items up. But they already do it, but it's not on a large scale like it could be because the U.S. military uses the most nuclear energy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that's going to fluctuate, and I personally need to do more research into it. But from what I've seen, it's kind of just plateauing right now. There's not as much public discourse about nuclear energy as there is about the most people have really talked about anything nuclear is about nuclear forms of destruction rather than power. People think of nuclear energy as a form of tearing down something rather than building something up when it can be used to build stuff. You could put electrical charge in the Pacific Ocean and kill every single fish in there, I'm sure, but I'm saying that if we choose to use these things for good, they become a lot less scary. Wish nuclear weaponry didn't exist. Deal with it, I guess. Watch Doctor Strangelove. If you haven't already, then watch it. If you have already seen it, I don't know, watch it again and just imagine it's real. I'll say this with nukes, like their damage is so absolute and so over the top that like it's not a fear of mine. It's just so comically overblown that I don't even think of it as a feasible thing. Like my brain, like I know it's real and I know it could happen, but my brain literally just doesn't register it as a possibility. Like I don't know. I would survive. Yeah, no, you're a cockroach. Cockroaches can survive without their heads. Do you have a head? I'm just kidding. I'm being too mean. I'm so sorry. Have I watched Ben 10 Omniverse? Also, hi. How are you doing? You came way too late. I'm about to leave. And I've been trying to find an excuse to leave, but people are just really engaging me in really, really good conversation, which is honestly what the paper stream's about. Which thank you guys. I really appreciate it. But I will put that on my watch list, which is like about 200 items long. It's always an excuse I use to get rid of people who are asking me to watch stuff. But no, I actually want to watch stuff, so I will put that on my list. Thank you very much. All right, bye-bye, Brian. Love you. All right, goodbye, Job. Love you too, platonically speaking. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah, shit. Forgot to give my outro. Hey, Noel. Thank you for watching Eating a Sheet of Paper a Day, day 760. I will see you tomorrow. That'll be day 761 of Eating a Sheet of Paper a Day. Make sure to live, laugh, cry, and also not die. And until next time, this is goodbye. Oh, wait, Axo. Yeah, see you around in Kerpit. Aw, don't be sad, guys. Okay, I'll see you in about 1 day, 24 hours, possibly less, possibly more. Hopefully I remember. Okay, goodbye. Fucking...